Yes, legends, how's everybody doing? Let's analyze the situation here for the price of Bitcoin. Can we create some new highs? Let's go, legends. How is everybody doing? Make sure to absolutely destroy that like button on your way in, legends. How is everybody? I'm going to go quickly through the comment section right away just to say hello to the incredible legends community right away. Let's go. We've got 𝗤𝗫 here, my brother, as you can see. Crypto by 𝗤𝗫. Let's say hello to everyone. We're going to focus on the local setups for the price of Bitcoin. We'll go through what was mentioned yesterday. So far, so good. So far, so good. Some levels were respected. We talked about some trading setups that ended up playing out in the end. We got the bounce from the VWAP, the daily open, the value area low from yesterday. Before yesterday, actually. We're going to be talking about the next levels, next scenarios. How is this new price action giving us new information? We got some new information right now. And with this new information, we can take a look at the different probabilities, right? So let's go right away, say hello to the beautiful community. How is everybody doing? Everybody's bored about Bitcoin. Bitcoin above 100K. It's boring. We want it at 200,000, 300,000. The people are bored with the cryptocurrency bull market because we are in a bull market, even though it doesn't look like it. we are going to see some altcoins popping, guys, like crazy in the next coming months. It's going to be brutal. Usually an altcoin season is round about 8 to 12 weeks. It's fast, it's aggressive, and that's where you get the attention of retail. You watching this right now, you are at the best last stage to make some quick gains in 2025. Remember, we need to get out as soon as things get aggressive to the upside, right? The hype is not in yet. We have Google Trends, crypto, altcoins, best altcoins, Bitcoin. Nobody cares about crypto. Crypto's a scam. This is that phase of the market that we're going to see explosive moves on altcoins. I know we don't believe it. It's not going to happen. We need, QE to happen, money printing, interest rate cuts, and rest of it. It's going to happen at some stage, okay? And you need to be prepared. You need to buy at low levels, and you just need to be ready, guys. You watching this live stream right now, you are in that small percentage that is actually going to make it. Swear down, okay? Let's go through the comment section right away. Not building any hype. It's real, okay? People are going to struggle and how to get out from this market. And, anyway, we'll just go through the comment section and say hello to the beautiful community and see what's going on, brothers and sisters. Oriel, hola, brother. Much love to you, my man, Oriel. Suzanne, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well, Suzanne. Lots of liquidity to the upside and downside, but there is a big chunk at $109,000. All-time high, baby. Zach, yes, we do have a big chunk to the upside, also to the downside. James XRP, afternoon, dude. How are you doing, James? Much love to you, brother. Gilbo, hello, legends. I say the man, the legend. You're all legends. Never feared shorting more than today. Lol, still some profits, though. There was one level that we mentioned on the live stream yesterday. Well, there was two. And these are scalping levels, but who joined yesterday's live stream? There was a next level. If we break the golden pocket, which we did get rejected, okay? We did drop down about $1,000 from that short trade mentioned here. This was during that news that we had yesterday, CPI data. You never know how the news is going to really affect, right? If it's going to get a massive wick to the upside. It was actually holding pretty solid here, the golden pocket. And we did came down to the VWAP. So, hey, good risk management. It's a solid trade. It came to the downside. It hit the level. This level also was okay for a bounce. This was okay also for a long position. It's obviously a take profit zone, guys, when we do put here the risk management and the take profit zone, right? Looking at a 3-to-1 risk reward. You need to get out here because this is support. This is the previous day value area low. This is the VWAP. This is the daily open, right? The open of yesterday was exactly at this level. You've got a lot of confluence here at the 102,800. And, take profit here. If you do get that reaction, very much aware of that price bouncing all the way up, having an attempt to break out the point of control from the previous day, which it did, right? And then price continued to the upside, right? When we do reflect that scenario, don't worry, guys, there's time. We're getting a little bit of a reaction right now at today's daily open, right? We're trying to break out here from from previous day point of control. Okay, hang on a minute. I got my levels wrong here. I deleted. Yeah, this is daily open if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is yesterday's levels. Apparently I haven't got today's levels marked up. What's going on? But yeah, this is today's open, where we are getting a little bit of resistance. Anyway, let's go through the scenarios that we mentioned yesterday, and then we'll dive in through new scenarios, okay? There's time, we have time, but it's pretty incredible how you see the technical analysis and your trading setups coming to fruition, right? It's all nonsense. It doesn't work. You need to manage risk. The setups, the levels do get respected. And we can see here throughout yesterday where we did get that rejection from the previous day point of control and the golden pocket of the drop. And we came down to the previous day value area low, the daily open, and also the VWAP, right? This is when you align the planets, right? And you get everything together. Nice little short scalp. It's only a move of 1%, less than 1%. It's a scalp. You know, we're very much clear on where to take the profits. If you take that trade, stop loss looks ridiculous. It's extremely small, but you take profit at the VWAP, right? And then here, of course, you decide to take that long or not, right? That's all on you eventually, right? This is support. So we're just looking at intraday levels. And this is something also mentioned on yesterday's video update in the Legends trading community, how the price could move throughout the next coming hours. Well, it's basically pumping, getting the reaction at the golden pocket, rejecting, bouncing at the VWAP and the previous day value area low, and then jumping all the way up to the 7/8 Fibonacci from the entire drop, where it could reject basically, right? So it's really level to level, as you can see. And this is obviously when you're in a range, it's a scalper day trader's paradise, right? Where you just go level to level, right? And this is exactly how the price action moved up. And as we got to that 7/8 Fibonacci on yesterday's stream, I gave the option, you know, this is probably going to be a lot of resistance. We got the value area high of this entire range, right? Keeping it nice and simple, easy peasy for the viewer, right? Value area high and the 7/8 Fibonacci from the highs of Monday to the pivot low here of Monday as well, right? 7/8 Fibonacci, sweeping up these lower highs of Monday with the value area high. This is going to be a tough nut to crack. And we can see how that rejection did happen here very, very nicely. So overall yesterday, very, very technical in the range, right? Very, very technical in the range. Golden pocket rejection, bounce from the value area low with VWAP, bouncing all the way up to the 7/8 and getting that rejection to the 7/8. If you did short this 7/8 Fibonacci, as mentioned yesterday as an option, if we were to get up there, right? Basically swing failure pattern from these lower highs, you want to take profit at the point of control, you know, regardless if the price continues down or not. It doesn't matter. It's level to level trading. You need to be very, very strict here. And they're just basically movements of 1,000 to 1,500, right? We're not looking for big swings. No big swings in this range, okay? Looking for intraday setups, right? That's what we like to do here. Very, very nice on the channel. So let's go right away through new setups. Because here we're here for new setups, right? There's trading opportunities every single day, right? I'm gonna be leaning more into swing trading, but I am gonna be doing the lives for more scalping and day trading setups. I will take some setups myself eventually, intraday, but I'm gonna be focusing more on swing trades throughout the next coming months, okay? Just have those positions open. And this is a zone where I'm very interested in a swing short position. However, I am not positioned in that swing short. I only took $500 of profit and I got wicked out. I did not take this short position. I was asleep. I was very defensive with my short trade from the 0.88 and I actually lowered my entry, okay, added to the position. Then we got this reaction, took some profit, still in a long position from lower. But very importantly, took that profit. So my swing short position, right, has been closed. So, would it be nice to get into this range? Would it be a good idea to get into a trade here, right? That's going to be the question. Getting a little bit of a reaction here. But first of all, let's go, you know, let's get those levels, right? Let's go get those levels on the chart because I had those levels today. I had those levels marked up on the chart today, and sorry about this, guys. You know, we're gonna have to give me a 1 minute of your time. But basically, what I like to do is mark the previous day value area high, value area low, point of control. Right? We're gonna mark those levels here together. If you haven't got them on the chart, we'll mark them together. Right? And create a folder for this. Right away, we'll get that daily open as well. This is really where the price is trying to break through, and it's struggling. Actually, it's struggling to break above the daily open of today, which is sitting at 104,100, depending on what exchange you're using. Well, let's put this on a folder here on the object tree, and let's put today's levels, right? I did have them here. I don't know what I did. Probably deleted them because I did an update on the Legends trading community and they were very much aware of those levels. So let's dive in, guys. Sorry, I'm kind of looks like I'm going in circles and I'm not saying anything at the end, right? But we'll get to the point of the levels and where there's some good levels to trade, right? It seems like, you know, you're just talking too much and, you know, spitting out words that, you know, with no value. We do get to the value, just, you know, bear with me here. We'll build up here some scenarios that could happen in the next coming hours, where levels of confluence, where there could be some, you know, nice trading opportunities, just like we do every single day. Let me know if anybody took the short position yesterday from that point of control, right, and the golden pocket, and it was just only to the $102,800. It was only to there, and you know, got a nice little move to the downside, right over here, and then the price ended up going up, breaking out to sweep up those lower highs and the 7-8. Very, very technical, short, long, short, right? Very, very technical levels, very well respected. Now your question is here. Come on, dude, is this bullish or is it bearish? Let's analyze the local scenarios in this range, and I need every single one of you, because we're going to get into the meat and potatoes here in the next coming minutes, guys. But I'm not going to get into the meat and potatoes, and I will reserve for the Legends trading community if I don't see that like button getting destroyed, because I mean, come on, you decide here. I cannot trade for you, but if we do give the levels that do get respected on the live stream, you know, hey, I need a little bit of love here. Yesterday's live stream was insane. I got lots of love yesterday. Come on, almost 500 likes. I'm going to even smash the like button myself. Almost 500 likes, 9,000 views. Yeah, a little bit, you know, a little bit down on the likes, but we can get there. We can get there. My goodness, you know, you want me to trade for you and make the money for you. We talk about the levels and the scenarios, and, you know, not even getting a few likes. This is absolutely crazy. You got the education, the tools that we use, how we can look for, you know, intraday setups most of the time, right? And getting no love from the community. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is unacceptable. That's the word I was looking for. It's unacceptable. Anyway, I can see those likes rolling in right now with that silly talk that I'm doing right now. Okay, so thank you very much for that. It's a triangle formation, says 𝗕𝗫𝗺𝗽. We can analyze the situation. Hi, Andy. Are you still bullish on 𝗖? Yes, I am, my man. Bullish on 𝗖, bullish on 𝗬𝗇 network. 𝗬𝗇 network is getting a little bit of a pumpy action today. Nothing too crazy. We want to be cautious because, you know, it has been pumping quite nicely throughout the last week or so, right? And a pullback would make sense, okay? A pullback would make sense on this one, but it will be the pullback. It will be the pullback, in my opinion. Same for Constellation DAG and more of, well, Constellation DAG did break out from that ascending triangle we mentioned throughout the last few days. Getting that pop out here. Still early. Any correction from now on, which could definitely happen based on where Bitcoin is, and Bitcoin can definitely get a correction in the next coming weeks, despite taking the highs or not. There's two scenarios here. Very easy to understand. It's up or down. You either successfully break out, okay, head up to all-time high, or you fake out. You fake out. And we're going to talk about a plan here for the fake out, because I don't know what's going to happen. We can talk about the probabilities. I think that the highs will be taken just because this entire move is now looking more corrective. Okay, we'll go through the explanation right now in the next coming minutes. I think there's higher probability in taking out the highs again, even though, hey, come on, you know, we got the 5 waves here. Isn't it time to correct down? By the looks of things, we got lots of people interested in shorts. And you know, by the local price action, this is what we like to do here on the channel, right? Look at the high probability internal moves. all the information that we get in this range, right? Lots of people, will just say higher time frame, call off makes sense, but they won't say if the highs are going to be taken again, right? And that's what we try and do on the channel. We try and get that cherry on top on the analysis, which is diving on the lower time frame and look for intraday setups, which not many people are going to do out here through YouTube, basically, right? So we try and do that, be that cherry on top, right? To be a little bit different, right? Because I can get the moving averages on the chart, I can get the MACDs and the money flow on, market cipher, and say, it's looking bullish, it's looking bearish. A call off here would make sense, but we are going very specific with the levels internally, okay? Where we can find either a swing position, right? Maintain it for a few days, or get into some scalp trading setups. And we go with the possible price action that could get developed level to level, which, is that cherry on top, right? You ain't going to see many talking about this. We won't be right 100% of the times. It's impossible to be right 100% of the times. But we want to manage risk as well. Managing risk and taking the good trading setups with good decision, good risk management is the absolute key to your success long term. Planning the trades, the levels, and the scenarios intraday. You cannot find anybody, right, that is going to say you're copying this setup and this the other, because we do it live and we talk about the internal levels live and the possible levels of resistance and rejection internally here and how the price could develop. So it's all going with the flow, right? It's all here. We look at the charts and we give the information. Anyway, do I sound like I'm doing silly talk here? I think you're missing all the entries. Who's that? That's so ridiculous. You say up or down. I think you're missing all the entries. So do we short? Yeah, it's level to level, my man. Okay, we're gonna talk about some scenarios. Yesterday we were at resistance. Okay, we got the little pullback. We talked about the 7/8 Fibonacci sweep of the highs, also for a pullback. Okay, hey, there's too many scenarios here intraday. I don't like this short, and I'm going to explain why. If not, we would have said, like yesterday's stream, this short position all the way down to the VWAP was good. It was on, it was live. You take that decision if you want to get into that short. Short to the VWAP and the previous day value area low from the golden pocket. It's a $1,000 move. It's almost a 1% move. That was the move right there, right? This was the move of yesterday from the golden pocket down to the VWAP and the daily open. Right? It's clear. We're not talking about a major breakdown. If it breaks down, then you can have 20% open, but overall getting a bounce here was highly likely. Anyway, let's go. I'm not too interested here in this short position, even though we are struggling with the daily open. I think we could either be ranging, we could be continuing a range here. This movement to the downside doesn't look terribly impulsive with this movement that we got to the upside. So, in my opinion, yeah, daily open, we're above the VWAP, we're above the previous day point of control. Getting a little bit of strength here, regardless if we are going to roll down or not. It's the daily open. I don't like this resistance for a short position. And you may ask, why is this not a good short? It's getting a reaction. Reaction right now, we're consolidating at the daily open for the last hour, even 2 hours. This is getting exhausted, right? This should be a short position. Well, when I analyze, the main reason why I don't like these levels for a short position, because I need to see where we're coming from. If I don't like where we are coming from, I will not take a short if I think we're going to roll over. Where are we coming from? How is this movement to the downside looking? It is looking extremely three wavy. You know, I don't have confidence that this movement to the downside looks impulsive. It looks extremely three wavy and extremely corrective. And if it were to be impulsive, I would like to see a 5-wave move down and this movement to the upside. And then I would say, yeah, okay, you know, maybe, you know, this could form a lower high, get resistance here at the daily open. But it's all based on this structure. I don't like it, even though it could do this. For me, it's not a trade. Would I put stop loss here, above the daily open, above the highs? Where am I targeting? Am I targeting the lows? Well, we are above the previous day point of control and the session VWAP. So the risk to reward is not really worth it for me here to speculate on a short. We are above the VWAP, which is very close to us. We're above the previous day point of control, which is very close to the price action. I don't like this movement to the downside. It looks very three wavy. I wouldn't be confident for this. You know, this could be a double zigzag as well, regardless. It doesn't matter. You know, it is possible. I just don't like it for myself. It's daily open. We're hitting the golden pocket potentially. Yeah, we're hitting golden pocket and the daily open. I just don't like the risk to reward. Having the VWAP and the previous day point of control very close. So yeah, we could pull back, but we could actually get supported here and then move to the upside, which I think is a very possible scenario. So yeah, short here, not for me. Not for me. Not for me when I'm looking at these intraday setups. You know, the support and the confluence is too close to the price action. So it's not giving me that good risk to reward. So for me, it's a bad trade. It's a bad trade. Risk to reward is not good. And we have this price action that's very three wavy. Best case scenario for the bears here would be a double zigzag kind of structure, which could be the case. I don't know, you know. But for the moment, we have a zigzag move, and this price action bounce is getting above these highs. Then when I analyze this movement down, that doesn't look too bearish for me, right? It doesn't matter if it rolls down, you know. I won't cry because I didn't take the short. It's just not in my strategy when we have such a huge amount of support here, and I don't like the price action to the downside. So for me, it's not a good short day trade. Lots of support, VWAP, previous day point of control, too close to the price action. It just could correct down and then move up. So it's not worth it, right? It's not worth it. If it's not worth it, it's not worth it. So now I need to understand this movement to the downside. What other options do we have with this movement up and this movement down? And this is where it gets a little bit too confusing, right? And sometimes when the lower time frames get a little bit confusing based on what could be the probabilities, you kind of need to zoom out, right? Zoom out a little bit, stop looking at the 5-minute, 15-minute, right? We could intraday the levels, but when it's confusing on the lower time frame, because as mentioned yesterday, this could look impulsive, but it could also be corrective in a double zigzag, right? Where you got a zigzag and a zigzag. Of course, what's making it even more confusing, this can be counted as an impulse, or it can be counted as a double zigzag corrective structure. So we have a problem. We need to analyze this movement. How does this movement count better? As a zigzag or a contracting diagonal, which is there is a valid count? You know, eventually you would give a zigzag a little bit of more priority, as contracting diagonals are rare structures, okay, when you think about an impulse. However, both counts are valid. And as this movement to the downside is not clear, you need to kind of play a little bit of ping pong here, right? You need to play a little bit of ping pong. We just need to go intraday setups. I'm in long from lower, and I am giving the chance for the bulls to take out the high, right? It's a swing trade. It's a good entry. We're going to talk about the different scenarios that could happen here. Well, let's develop the possible movements, because you might think to yourself, this dude has no clue of what's going on here, if the price is bearish or bullish. And I get your point here, because it's not clear that this movement is impulsive or this movement is impulsive or corrective. They're two valid counts, right? When we do take a look at this movement from the lows, right, of yesterday. And when you get confused on certain levels, you need to start zooming out and counting the rest of the movements, right? Zooming out and kind of build up the map on what different scenarios could happen. But we're just really focusing on this at the moment, and hopefully we're going to get somewhere. We're kind of freestyling here with the analysis, which is always good. This is what I do every morning, right? You kind of wake up on the charts and you just analyze the counts, the waves, the confluence, and just come to that conclusion of what's the highest probability scenario. And hopefully, it's valuable information. You do see the results that, something has to, something here needs to work, right? We like to take a look at the videos from yesterday, before yesterday. Where did we talk wrong? What didn't play out? What did? I'm fine with all of that, because most of the times the intraday scenarios do play out, right? This is why intraday trading is my my niche. But I'm going to get more into swing trading. I've had it. I don't need to day trade anymore every day. But I'm addicted to it. I'm addicted to analyzing and finding opportunities. So I will always do that till I die. Because it's something that if you know how to have good risk and you see the opportunities, you're going to do it, and you make money, you're going to do it forever, right? You're going to do it forever. Anyway, back to the TA. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. A little bit of too much chit chat. This is why maybe lots of people are unsubscribing. This dude, man, I can't take him anymore because he's only talking BS. Anyway, let's go with this movement, right? We got the nice pump yesterday and the correction. We formed a higher low. Shout out to, I'm sure it was Aiden or Devil also talking about a higher low formation here, also about here. Anyway, well, let's go through the scenarios in the Legends trading community on Discord. Long here, both detected. A, B, possible scenario. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Valid count to finish your C wave. It's a possible zigzag, meaning that if this were to be a zigzag, you would like to count this as an impulsive move down. You need to give a possibility for this scenario. Also realizing that there is a volume increase on the movement down, and there's a volume decrease on the movement to the upside. So just by looking at the volume and the structure, you can give a possibility to the bears here. But as we get this new information, we realize that bears are not stepping in. They're not stepping in, especially with this latest movement down of today. For the bullish case scenario, if this were not to be an impulsive move to the downside, and this is not a corrective move, right? Then obviously we're looking at this as a corrective move and this as a impulsive move, more of a contracting diagonal here. That's how we would have to map this situation. And now you got your possible zigzag, or worst case scenario, a double zigzag. This is a possibility. A double zigzag is a possibility here. Maybe this has been the low already. I talked about this in the Legends. It was a quick little bounce from the previous day rally area low and the 50% Fibonacci, because if we are leaning that this is an ascending contracting diagonal, it would be nice to actually sweep the lows, get a bounce at 50%, and build up a little bit of market structure here on the lower time frame. But we bounce pretty aggressively. There's either bounce from 50% or bounce from the golden pockets. If this were to be bullish, if this is a wave 1, right? This is a wave 2. You want to see that breakout here from the highs, right? And then 4, 5, bit of chop, double top, and then maybe a correction. We don't know. Well, that would be the overall idea after this being the correction. Now, yeah, if this is the thing, this can be a contracting diagonal. This could have been the zigzag. The fact that the price action has moved in the last few hours, well, early this morning, in a zigzag right over here, and we got this pump, is telling me that there is a higher probability that we do take out the highs. Okay, just based on this new information that I had here, that did not manage to break down aggressively, and we got this bounce right over here claiming this lower high. I am giving probabilities based on the new information that we do take out the highs and we do not form a lower high here and roll over, purely based on the new information that we have in the last few hours. Regardless if this is going to be right or wrong, it's just looking at the probability sides from the new information that we have on the chart. And just before we read through the comment section, before we go through the comment section, it's all based on price action and market structure. Okay, as mentioned, why am I giving higher probability to take out the highs right now than actually forming a lower high with this choppiness, right, and roll down? Because of this 3-wave structure and claiming the lower highs, invalidating the potential of this being an impulse for the moment, right? It looks extremely corrective, but I understand that the worst case scenario is a zigzag bounce and a zigzag to the downside, double zigzag kind of price action. So ultimately, I would be interested in a long position at the golden pocket if we were to form a double zigzag. I'm long from lower anyway, regardless. This is like for a new setup. Why golden pocket? Well, it would be the sweet spot for this double zigzag. And if this is going to be bullish, which in my opinion, could be an ascending contracting diagonal, you got the zigzag here. This is overlapping the lower high. So I'm going to lean that this movement down is going to be bullish. It's going to be a corrective structure. So I could be completely wrong on this scenario. You sweep up the lows, and where I would be looking for a bounce would be the golden pocket. Guys, this is a projection, because a lot of people would hates the this might not even happen. Maybe the low is in, right? Maybe the price rolls down and breaks very aggressively to the downside, right? And all of this is complete nonsense, and I was completely wrong on the scenario. But this gives you a trading setup, right? When we build the map and build the possible scenarios, what we build is the strategy. We build a plan. We build a realistic plan on how the price action could develop, right? And as looking at the levels of confluence, and we develop that price action, right? This does make sense that it could be an ascending contracting diagonal. This does make sense that it can be already a finished zigzag, especially when we're claiming these highs. Maybe we actually pump from here. I would say I'm not surprised. This is just we formed a zigzag move down and we claim this high. I would not be surprised if we continue to the upside. But if we reject, I know that this is looking more corrective than impulsive. And what could be another larger corrective move would be a double zigzag. If we were to move down, I realize that there is low probability in breaking down successfully here because of this internal price action. So if the price were to roll down, I realize that the probabilities are lower to break down, and there is high probability that we are going to be finding some support here, and the price will likely reverse to the upside. So you always need to say, you always find the high probability movement, right? We're breaking out right now, so it was a bad idea to get into a short, as mentioned at the beginning, right? Also because your target zones are not, they're not good. So anyway, we might not get that that movement down, but it's always something that we would want to consider, right? So yeah, we're just moving up right now. And we got stock market open. We got stock market open right now, which is absolutely flying. Stock market has been bullish ever since we took the highs here, basically. Ever since we overlapped this low. Ever since we've overlapped this low, we understood that this is corrective, and it's either V-shaped recovery or a sideways corrective move, right? Worst case scenario would be a double zigzag here, which is zigzagging down to the lows. But right now we're losing probabilities for the double zigzag because we're overlapping the point. Yeah, we're at the 7/8 Fibonacci. So a double zigzag here is lower probability, because if you do hit the 0.7 Fibonacci, you are losing the probabilities for a double zigzag, right, which would be rolling down to claim the lows, right? And worst case scenario, I think it's either V-shaped recovery to all-time highs on the stock markets, or it's going to be zigzag. We're forming an X wave here, and there is either going to be a triangle or a flat structure, and we take out the highs later on in the next coming months. Regardless, all-time high in the next coming months, weeks, if not weeks, is the highest probability here for stock market. But of course, we could be ranging. We could be still ranging in a correction throughout the next coming weeks, regardless if it's going to be a flat and then pump, or a large triangle, right, and then the breakout to the upside. It doesn't matter. Stock market looks bullish on the chart after the end of the world situation here, right? End of the world, tariffs. What a major strategy for the big players. Anyway, let's still focus with the local range here. Yeah, this does look extremely corrective. This movement down looks extremely corrective. It's all about getting a plan. This was a bit of an aggressive long position. I mentioned this today in the Legends trading community, but it would have been nice to sweep up the lows. Not sure if anybody jumped into that long position in the community, but we just gently tapped the 50% Fibonacci, which was either bounce from 50% or bounce from golden pockets. Anyway, if the price were to move down here, which I don't know if it's going to move down. This could have been the zigzag already, and we're moving up. But if it were to move down, what we could be seeing, zigzag down, we got the X wave. If we were to form another zigzag down, it would be nice to sweep up the lows, and preferably the golden pocket, right? We just swept up here the highs, not managing to break right now. Golden pocket would be the level that I would be interested, sitting at $102,300 for that bounce, realizing that, and it's only this level, it's reaction at the level, hit the level, get the reaction, entry, stop loss at the low, and look for that recovery. If it blasts through the level, then eventually, I'm not going to be trying to catch the falling knife. If we lose the golden pocket, would be no longer interested in that scenario. Let's take a look at Fibonacci extension. Yeah, this would be a little bit aggressive. A double zigzag target can be in between the 1-to-1, 1-2-3-6 as common target zones. The 1-2-3-6 Fibonacci would be the 7-8 Fibonacci, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, almost the 7-8 Fibonacci from the lows to the highs. It would be a little bit of a whoa, we're rolling down, we're going down, getting people scared. 1-to-1 is exactly at the golden pocket from this movement. And the 1-2-3-6 is exactly at the 7-8. So, as I do understand that this is three wavy, very three wavy, and as mentioned, the double zigzag right now would be losing probability based on the 7-8 touch. Hasn't quite hit the 7-8 just yet. Hasn't quite hit the 7-8, the 0.7, sorry. Almost hitting it. It's just a plan, right? It's all about planning your trades. It's just a plan. We might just roll, we might just move to the upside from here. We might just move to the upside from here. If we move to the upside, am I interested in a short position swing failure pattern from the highs of Monday? Would I treat this as a liquidity grab swing failure pattern? And I'm going to say I would remain a little bit patient, because after this movement to the downside, what we do have here is our initial wave to the upside, corrective move. If we are going to continue pumping here, this could be a wave 3. This could get pretty explosive. It could actually, get to 107,000, 107,500. So I wouldn't be too interested just as of yet to get into a short on a swing failure pattern from this level. And yesterday we were talking about some interesting levels, which all of these lower highs, which we're going to mark them up right now. These lower highs at 107,000, which would be the ideal. We're going to get the highest one from all-time high, right? This was the all-time high back in January, and this is the lower high levels. Lower high levels, we're going to put this as a SFP level, right? The first lower high after the drop from all-time high, which is sitting at 107,150, depending on what exchange you're using. Building up plans. Yeah, who said, right? I thought trading was going to be lying on the beach with my laptop, right? Sunbathing and having a piña colada. What's all of this nonsense getting these plans ready? My goodness, what a headache. Welcome to the reality of trading. Look for the opportunities, plan your setups, even if they're intraday or swing trading. And it's going to take a few hours to develop those plans for shorts or longs, right? No piña colada on the beach with your laptop or your phone. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. If you know somebody, let me know, because I'm happy to put, a few $100,000, maybe more if it does work. Anyway, so, yeah, if we were to get that movement up I would be a little bit skeptical on a swing failure pattern here, just realizing if this is the low and this would be an impulse, I would be a little bit cautious on a possible wave 3 here, and it can get a little bit punchy. And obviously you get the first reaction, right, correction, and then, you know, your next wave up to finish a 5th wave. It can't, you know, would wait for some sign of weakness. I don't think it's just going to pump down here and create a big dump or the highs. I'm skeptical about this situation with this new information that we have. With this information, it's great. With the information that we had the other day, we talked about the 0.88 Fibonacci. Beautiful. With this information, an SFP from the 0.88 is great because you have moved up in a very impulsive move to the upside. And here you could be forming an ascending, you know, an expanding diagonal. You got your correction in this range. And you could be forming an expanding diagonal here, just getting choppiness. And, you know, you're looking at these levels of confluence just to get the rejection finally. But when you get this rejection and you form a potential new wave to the upside, you know, I realize that this wave could be a little bit explosive right now. You know, if we were to break up to the highs, I would be a little bit skeptical in sniper trading, understanding that we could get a kind of a 3rd wave move up. So you know, for me, there will be no quick shorts, regardless if it SFPs or not. I think it's a dangerous SFP for me personally. Even the one up here at $107,000. Remember, we do have a lot of liquidity here. There's a lot of liquidation above $106,000 all the way up to 107, like someone pointed out in the comment section. Getting a little bit of a dumpy rejection, did not manage to break successfully the daily open. So we've got a little bit of a rejection now currently at the VWAP. Yeah, this was the situation here from getting into any scalps. A lot of support here. You got the wick fake out to the upside. Double zigzag could be a scenario here. Getting that volatility right now. What's going on with the stock market? Stock market getting a bit of a rejection. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. No major levels lost. Very, very boring price action. I'm already long from lower. I would be betting that we could take out the highs. Of course, I am protective. I am defensive. A good plan here would be coming down to the golden pocket. Golden pocket would be my first initial level of interest. And also, it would be an attempt of breaking down the value area low. Yeah, value area low of this range, attempt of breakout, and golden pocket would be the best zone for that fake out of the value area low, in my opinion, or the zone that I would be interested in for that double zigzag. Not sure if that's going to happen, guys, but if it does, this would be my level of interest. Could there be another scenario developing here, right? Is there any other scenarios that could develop? Absolutely, right? You can never stick with one scenario or two scenarios. So there is the possibility to somebody said about a triangle. Somebody said something about a triangle. As this movement down can be counted as a double zigzag, this movement to the upside could also be counted as a zigzag. Okay, where you do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in your wave C here. You could also be forming here either a triangle, which would be interesting. You could also be forming a triangle, because what we would be looking at here, and that's only if you form the triangle, right? As the price develops, you always end up with a very good high probability trade setup. So if the price were to be forming a triangle here in this range, give or take, taking out the lows or not, you could take out the lows and still form a larger triangle. Then I would still be looking for that breakout. You need to count the A, B, C, D, E in this range. Still soon, obviously, this is extremely speculative, but there would be a valid count here for a triangle. And this is how many scenarios can develop, right? How many scenarios can develop with the information that you do have on the chart. A triangle can be a formation, very much valid. As soon as we do get a range, right? If we start forming a large consolidation with 2 lower highs, 2 higher lows, we realize that a triangle could be on the formation here for a WXY, and you could get that breakout in, right, in the next, I would say 24 hours. This might be formed late, on Thursday. That's if we continue ranging here. So if it continues ranging with higher lows and lower highs, I would be extremely interested, once this is developed, that I want to go long on the latest higher low, right, which would be the A, B, C, D, E, and stop loss beneath the last higher low, forming the uptrend here to then get the leg to the upside and take out the highs. It's just something that could develop. Obviously, you need to have many plans. So one of the plans was a double zigzag. There's only 2 levels of interest, the golden pocket and the 7/8 Fibonacci. If we were to roll down very quickly from here, you need to be ready at those levels with your plan. I mean, I got my plan. Stop loss comes below the golden pocket if we get a reaction. Stop loss goes below the 7/8 if we hit the 7/8. I've got 2 plans here. They could be great trades, good risk to rewards. If we continue ranging and we don't get those lows, I'm already in long from lower. If I get stopped out at break even, then I would analyze the reaction and jump back in at these levels. If we form a few lower highs and a few higher lows, this is what could develop. It can be extremely long. It can be very small. Maybe this is the higher low. Maybe that's the lower high. Maybe this is the triangle formation right now, and it's just going to squeeze. If it does give you a valid count where you do have your A wave, your B wave, your C wave, your D wave, and you form a triangle in the next coming hours like this, and you're squeezing in, then eventually this becomes your good long. You need 5 waves inside of the triangle, your A, B, C, D, E, right? So this would be a long game, right? You need to wait for it. It might be a larger triangle. You may be still inside of your zigzag here, and then it's a zigzag up, zigzag down, zigzag up, zigzag down. Maybe this does develop throughout today and tomorrow. But if it does form a triangle in between today and tomorrow, and it continues ranging, it's a high probability that you are going to be breaking out and taking out the highs at some point. Because, well, first of all, a wave 2 for a wave 3 cannot be a triangle, and this counts better. This would be counting better as a WXY. So yeah, it's something that, and your stop loss becomes extremely small, right? It's not being about right or wrong. It's all about if we form this triangle and we have 5 waves in the A, B, C, D, E, we form a triangle here. Entry point is going to be at the last higher low, and your stop loss is going to be at the last higher low, right? You're looking for the 50% to the golden pocket as an entry, right? And stop loss beneath the last higher low. And you're really targeting the highs and higher. So this would give you a very good risk to reward if you form this triangle throughout the next coming hours. Very speculative. I don't know if this triangle is going to happen. I understand that the triangle could develop as we claim this high. We formed a double zigzag potentially here and a zigzag here. I understand that a double zigzag now has lost probabilities because we hit the 7 Fibonacci, 70% retracement. So if this is going to be a corrective move, it's likely going to be sideways corrective move, and that these lows very likely are not going to be claimed, and the highs are going to be claimed at some point. So a triangle is an option. Another option, which would be the aggressive option, which gets that volatility, it gets people a little bit crazy, which we did detect in this zone, right? Because here we were talking about a WXY, we still have it on the chart, and I gave you the option of, you know, I'm going to get into a long position here. I got into this long position at the value area low. The option here was the zigzag, triangle in your wave X, and then looking for a flat here, which on some exchanges we did form that flat. In this one we missed it on Bybit by nothing, by hitting the 0.9 Fibonacci. But this was the aggressive movement here, and finally to take out the highs. So we did say that a flat here was the highest probability. Zigzaggy flat, you know, almost a zigzaggy formation was the highest probability, because if you form a triangle in your wave X, it would be rare to form a triangle in your wave Y here. So the zigzag flat scenario for your Y was the highest probability, and the value area low, it would be sweeping up this low, and the value area low was your option to get into the long position after creating this kind of swing failure pattern, right? You know, just a reaction at the value area low, sniper trade, stop loss at the low, look for the highs. So the aggressive scenario here would be a flat right now, right? Which would be taking out this high. I wouldn't bet on a short position because we have the movement up and a zigzag. I would not bet on a short position as we sweep up these highs, but I realize it could do this. What I would be interested is in the swing failure pattern from these lows. This is where you don't enter. You enter on the recovery, on the reaction, and stop loss comes beneath this low. And this is literally forming, you know, a flat. It's an option, guys. I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but if we take the highs and then we take the lows and we get a reaction from the lows, I want to jump into this long. I realize that taking out the highs is highly likely. And, you know, at the end of the day, what you would be looking at is a WXY. Like this. So there's two options here. There's the triangle and there is the flat. Or the finished or the finished correction. You know, the correction has finished. We've got a zigzag already. We've got the movement down, which is valid for a contracting diagonal. We might take out the highs in the next coming hours. But it's just some scenarios that could happen, right? This would be the moment that I would be interested in the long position to take out the highs. This would be the long setup that I would be interested in. Any legit follower that pays attention on the different scenarios does know, I mean, and this is the one that's been, you know, just the closest one. This was only about less than 2 weeks ago. You will remember this scenario if you're a legit follower. right? If you're a new subscriber, you won't know. But this scenario was mentioned. You can go and check out the live stream from the 29th of April. And this was the only scenario because we realized that a triangle here was very unlikely after this wave. And we were very confident that new highs were going to happen. There was a higher probability in taking out the highs in this range based on this structure that we formed. The new information that we developed was screaming for the highs to be taken. Extremely corrective formation, move up to hit the 0.88 Fibonacci, triangle here, which is not valid for a wave 2. It's just, everything was just, the new information was just saying, hey, get ready to jump into the long position. And we you know, our best zone was the value area low and the flat, right? Kind of a zigzag or a flat in this scenario. But as you sweep up the low and you recover, you look for the long, stop loss at the low, entry area, targeting the highs. So it's all about planning how the price could develop, right? I don't know. There's many scenarios that could happen here. This could have been the end of the correction. This could be an ascending contracting move. Price is just going to rally now in the next coming hours. It would be a valid scenario. In this area, as mentioned, you know, if you shorted, because some people were saying short now because we're hitting the daily, well, we're hitting the golden pocket. Well, if you shorted, you should have taken profit right now, right? We're getting the bounce at the VWAP. So, I mean, it's not really an area where I'm interested in any scalps. I realize this, you're getting squeezed here in between support and resistance. It's just a no trade zone. The movements are too small, not worth the risk to reward. There was a long setup mentioned in the legends today, but it was you know, I did say I prefer taking out the low after hitting the 50% Fibonacci, which we didn't. You know, this is a little bit of a, maybe some of the legends got in at the 50%. Not too sure, but I said preferably we do take out the low actually, which we didn't. So anyway, let's I don't know what could happen here. Nobody knows at the end of the day. We know several movements that the price can develop. I think there's low probability in breaking down, purely based on the information that we got on the last few hours. That doesn't mean it cannot happen, right? I've you know, been very wrong many times as well, right? So based on that information that I've given you here, you know, I'm going to go long, and I'll be happy to add to the long position because Andy said there's high probability in taking out the high. You might think, well, Andy's bullish, then I'm going to go short, right? Which I do have a few people, just because they've just been in the wrong moment of you know, the bad scenarios, right? The bad predictions. But these are people that haven't been long-term followers. If you're a long-term follower, we do know that most of the scenarios that we talk about and the plans that we develop intraday do come to fruition. And this was yesterday's one. This was the only local trading setup that we had. We had the resistance. You know, you want to take it or not? Well, you have it there. Down to the VWAP. A movement of $1,000 plus, right? 1,200, a 1% move. Of it, and eventually, you know, you decide if you want to get into the long there, right? It is support. So that is, you know, in a nutshell, guys, it is a few other scenarios. Let me just go right away, and I should have saved this in a. I should have saved the scenarios in a folder, which I did not, which is very irresponsible here for the viewers. Double zigzag in a WXY is an option. This is an option here. We're going to put this in minor. A double zigzag is an option. It is an option. Most important levels are the golden pocket and the 7/8 Fibonacci. Golden pocket being option 1, 7/8 being option 2. Anything away from these levels, I would not enter any other positions or add to the position, or no stop losses. We're going to bounce, we're going to take out the highs just because Andy said so. Absolutely not. This could waterfall down to 95k. Right? I don't know. It's only these levels that I would take action in taking a trading decision based on a smaller reaction, decision time, stop loss here, get the bounce, right? And then be defensive with your stop loss. Why is this a good option? Well, I mean, why is it an option? Not a good option. I'm not sure if it's a good option. Why is it an option? Because we formed, this does look very zigzaggy, this first move. As this looks very zigzaggy and we've claimed this lower high, I'm not leaning on an impulsive move down. If we do take out the lows, I would lean that this could be corrective, still part of a correction. One of the corrections would be this zigzag move up. I would be leaning on this scenario being an ascending contracting diagonal. So this gives me the option of a long at the golden pocket, also because it's hitting the 1-to-1 extension from the pivot higher here of yesterday, yesterday to the pivot low of today, to the pivot lower high, potential lower high that we are in right now, maybe. It's the 1-to-1 extension, meaning that this wave would be the same length as this one. And you got the golden pocket from the pivot low of Monday to the pivot high of yesterday. Good Fibonacci confluence. We realize that the first movement down of today, between yesterday and today, has been more corrective, meaning that an impulsive move down aggressively has lower probability. And if the lows of today were to be swept, then I would be interested at specific confluence levels to take the decision of a long position, understanding that there is low probability for the breakdown and higher probability to find support at one of these fib levels to then get the bounce and finally take out the highs. So that would be one option. Golden pocket, reaction, stop loss beneath the low of the reaction, and target the highs, giving you a nice risk to reward of, this is massive. This is like 6-7 to 1 risk reward depending on your entry. But if you lose the golden pocket very aggressively, or the second option that I would be looking at is the 1-2-3-6 Fibonacci, which is a common target here for your double zigzag. And also you would be hitting the 7/8 Fibonacci with the 1-2-3-6 extension. Only option. If you lose this level, I will not be entering the trade. Alerts will be set. But if we lose the levels, there is no adding to position or any of that nonsense, right? There's no trade, there's no long. If we start moving down with volume, this whole idea becomes extremely invalidated. Okay, so it's only these two specific levels, if they hold and have good risk management, that I would have the attempt to bounce and take out the highs. You lose the levels, you're no longer in any long position. You don't want to be in a long position if the price is moving, breaking down against you. If it loses the levels, you're no longer in any long, right? I mean, this is me, okay? I'm talking for myself. That's one scenario for any newcomers that are joining here, the live stream. Another scenario will take many hours to develop, which would be a large triangle. What you're looking at here is a large WXY. Of course, we need a lot of information still need a lot of information. You need the A wave, B wave, whoops, what's going on here, wrong tool. You need the A wave, the B wave, C, D, E, right? You need a long range that could happen in the next 24 hours. If you do have a higher low, you do have a lower high, a higher low and a lower high throughout the next 10, 12, 15 hours, well, this could be looking very bullish. WXY will look for the highs to be taken. This is pure speculative, of course. We need the waves. We need at least 2 lower highs and 2 higher lows to even start thinking about this scenario. And it's just a pattern that could develop, right? If it can get developed, it's something that we can talk about. And then the most aggressive one would be the WXY. Nobody likes these, you know, complex scenarios because they're just complex, right? They're just a big fat mess on the chart. And, you know, the best one was this one right over here, right? A lot of people were like, you know, stop talking about nonsense and waves. Go and check out the video, guys, from the 29th of April, because we talked about exactly this move right over here. We did say about taking out the highs, but we did talk about this exact move at the end of the triangle to hit the value area low and bounce from the value area low to then take out the highs when the price was inside of this triangle. Okay, anybody that doesn't believe any of this nonsense, well, you can check that video out because we predicted this movement, this exact movement, and actually got into the long position. You will see on the video in the live stream on the 30th or the 1st of May that, you know, I was in that long position based on the analysis from the previous day. So it's just how the price can develop, right? The price can develop this way, and this would be another scenario where you just try and take out the highs of yesterday, you fail to do so, and you come back down to sweep up these lows, and this would be the swing failure pattern zone that you would be interested. And what is what is very important, if we were to form this, I'm not interested in the swing failure pattern of the highs, because you can take out the highs, right? You can literally take out the highs. There's lots of liquidity. This could have been the zigzag already and you just move up. I'm not interested in this short. I would be interested in this long over here. And what I need the price to do is move to the upside on a liquidity grab from the lows, get above, right? And my interest is, as soon as the price gets above, with a retest or not, stop loss at the low, entry zone, and take profit zone at the highs. Something that, you know, can be developed, right? If the price breaks down, and none of these levels and none of these scenarios happen, which is the strongest level of support, and what other scenario would you be looking at? I would have to come to the conclusion, if you are going to break down aggressively with high volume and you just cross through the fib levels and you break the value area low and it just absolutely collapses, what we could be looking at is either an ABC or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And you know, things are going to get a little bit more aggressive. That's if we break down very aggressively, right? So I don't think this is the scenario that's going to happen, but you just need to, you know, I'm only interested in specific levels here. I'm only interested in some specific levels that if they're hit, you know, I would take the chance, either golden pocket or 7/8. If you start breaking down very aggressively with high volume, then I would say, you know, I'm not interested. If you do get beneath these levels, I'm not interested in a double bottom here from yesterday's lows. You do have the naked point of control, which is no longer naked, that order block here, which is where we got the reaction yesterday. I would be a little bit cautious if you do lose this low. I think the price could drop down, and then I would have to really analyze what the heck the price action is doing next in this range. So you just have to remain patient. For me, there would be no quick longs or no shorts on the breakdown. Just realizing about the zigzag, I think there's no good short here on the breakdown of the lows. It's just all longs. I would wait for the price to cool off, analyze the local price action, and then intraday level. And, you know, I would be speculating maybe on a swing long or something. You know, just have to analyze the price action if we break these levels, guys. You know, it's just there's no more to it. For me, anyway, according to my strategy and my way of trading, I wouldn't be interested here in snipering a level. Order block if lost. There's this inefficiency. I realize that the price can drop down very aggressively through this range. So, you know, wouldn't be interested in anything, in doing anything here. I'll just wait for the price to stop and form a range and new structure to be developed, so we can analyze and look for some intraday setups there. So anyway, let's go right away through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. Guys, if you are interested in trading, you do have Weeks that has a awesome bonus, okay? You also have BTCC, been testing out BTCC. Weeks has a great bonus, up to $30,000 deposit bonus. You get 25% fee reduction also on Weeks, guys, using the second link down below. I've been testing BTCC out, and you know, it has an incredible track record. You have also $10,000 plus bonuses on BTCC. Currently on that swing trade, right? Let's see if we do take out the highs. And Weeks has an awesome bonus, and you get 25% fee reduction on Weeks, okay? Muy importante, because the 25% fee reduction is obviously something that is good. People want cheap fees. You only need an email and a password to sign up on Weeks, okay? Let's go. Pac-Man, my bro. How's everyone doing? We got Mark Dutch, the absolute legend, here in the comment section. Absolute legend. Mark Dutch, much love to you, brother. Pac-Man, bring back Mod King. Yes, sir, that is correct. You know what? You know what? You know what? You know what? Let's bring it. Let's bring it. Let's bring it. Where are you? Where are you? There he is. There he is. The absolute legend. Mark Dutch. Yes, do it. Absolutely. He's king of moderators. Mark Dutch is king of moderators. If you do follow any other channels, you will very likely see Mark Dutch as a moderator. He's the king of moderators. Okay, let's go through the comment section and analyze some altcoins. We need to analyze the higher time frame here, legends, and understand the amount of resistance that we do have. Okay, and the amount of resistance that we do have here is insane. The price action has moved up, okay? We cannot be extremely bullish at the highs and at resistance, okay? I know that there is high probability in taking out the highs just because this movement looks very impulsive. But when we take a look at the basic theory of Elliot waves, we have formed 5 waves, regardless if we take out the highs one more time or not, right? We want to be extremely cautious. We at the Valley area high. It would make sense for the price of Bitcoin before taking out the highs to get a cool off in the next coming weeks. I would not be surprised on the higher time frame, right? Regardless if we are on the lower time frame, we're talking about taking out the highs potentially, right? Just because the movement is looking very corrective on lower time frame. This correction that could happen for Bitcoin, the biggest level of support that we do have eventually is the $97,000, $96,000 range, where we have the point of control, where we did get lots of resistance here just 2 weeks ago. We want to be very bullish, in my opinion, in this zone. I mean, it is common to sweep up the fourth wave. When we consider Elliot wave theory, that would be getting down to 93, 92. Will that happen or not? We'll have to see. But the conclusion of this is that this might be the last dip before breaking out all-time high. And it would actually be better to have this correction so we can have steam here, get a little shakeout to absolutely explode out of all-time high later on in the next coming weeks, right? Give or take months. This would be ideal, because if this doesn't happen and we continue pumping, well, we have to start thinking of an extensive third wave here, 4, 5. You know, this might be topping out sooner than we think. No correction throughout the hype, no correction throughout the pump. You're finishing a possible impulse. The most bullish case scenario is that you're still developing a third wave. And obviously, this will not give you too much range of an extension to go to higher levels. So a pullback here, taking out the highs or not, right, regardless, would be ideal, basically. So then we have power for a third wave, right? Get a massive explosive move to the outside. I was going to say to the upside. This would be ideal. This would be more bullish in the next coming months, coming weeks, right? Give or take 8 weeks, right? Might be a couple of months throughout the summer. We might get that pullback maybe in the next week, right? But overall, this would be healthy. It would just give the potential of an explosive move, right? You know, it would give us that high potential. So I would prefer a pullback down to the mid 90s, low 90K levels. It would be ideal for the price to explode out. And I think it makes sense for that to happen, regardless of the intraday trading setups that we do look for. So it would be ideal. It would make sense, just considering that, you know, we already very 5 waver here. We're hitting a major resistance, which is the value area high. This possible correction on Bitcoin to the mid low 90K levels will bring altcoins a big correction as well, right? And yeah, we're going to be, that was a trap, right? This is the 𝗕𝗶𝗴𝗫 sentiment, right? It was a trap. This was it. The highs, you know, brutal pullbacks. Oh my goodness, it was all a trap. And we're going to get lots of altcoins, you know, getting a pullback. I mentioned on the channel that we might get, I already bought a little bit of Phemex Network and Constellation DAG the last few days. We already broke from Constellation DAG, this ascending triangle. It doesn't matter. What is to come in the next coming months, weeks, months, doesn't matter. 2 months, 5 months, I don't know. It's, you know, it's in the next coming months. You know, I like the pullback. I like the selling pressure getting exhausted. We'll be screaming profit taking in a few months. Don't worry about that. I'm not going too crazy with altcoins. Constellation DAG and Phemex Network, I know they're good projects. I like where they are. Phemex Network did get a little bit of a pumpy action today, but this is perfect, right? This is already moved up a little bit, 5 wavy. It would be nice to get a bit of a pullback. Of course, if Bitcoin gets that pullback, these coins will get the pullback as well, and that will be the moment. That will be the moment. We'll be analyzing very carefully in the coming weeks how the altcoins are pulling back, okay? We wait. We know it could be the last opportunity. We know it can happen. So we're just going to get ready for those scenarios, right? And 𝗬𝗨 Network is an absolute beast of a project, guys. Anybody that doesn't know about 𝗬𝗨 Network, make sure to go and do the research if you wish. But 𝗬𝗨 Network, you know, there's one that I actually want to buy that I do have, and it's at a major loss. I only put a couple of $1,000s in this one. Is 𝗬𝟐. When I do take a look, we know 𝗬cie is an incredibly bullish, right? 𝗬cie is an awesome blockchain project. Very easy to build on, and the volume is going parabolic, right? TVL is going parabolic. And there is only one meme coin on CoinGecko from the 𝗬cie ecosystem that says buy, right? I mean, this doesn't mean it's, you know, CoinGecko is kind of suggesting that buying 𝗬𝟐, you know, is an option, right? It seems like this might be in the portfolio of CoinGecko, you know, company. So this is at $1 million market cap. This coin, I did buy this one, and I'm down like 60% or so, guys. I'm down big time. I didn't put much in. We did talk about it on the channel, and there's one of those there. I'm just going to put a little bit in, right? And when I take a look at the chart, this was, it's named on the 𝗬cie's co-founder, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's on the website. There's no research whatsoever. This is entirely putting play money in. Putting play money in. The dog of 𝗬cie co-founder, Evan Cheng. You know, if we want to get into some meme coins, right? We need to have a couple of meme coins to gamble, guys. And this is like play money. The market capitalization is 1 million. If 𝗬cie is so awesome and 𝗬cie is the best and 𝗬cie is going to take over, 𝗬cie this, 𝗬cie that, I want to have some kind of a meme coin from 𝗬cie, right? We're getting a few meme coins that are exploding. 𝗬𝗚, 𝗏𝗏, and 𝗏𝗏, they're up over 100% in the last 7 days. Why isn't this one? I mean, this one's up 75% in the last 7 days, so it is picking up. If 𝗬cie's going to be so great, this is at $1 million market cap. We know that these kind of coins can go to 100 or hundreds of million of market capitalization. You know, this is realistically, this can do a 50x, right? That would only take us to $60-70 million market cap, which is where the leading meme coins are from 𝗬cie. I don't know, you know, maybe it's worth a risk. That's why, you know, if it does do that massive explosion in the next coming months, if you're looking for a realistic 50x coin, you know, this might be one. 𝗬cie is absolutely great. There's not that many meme coins. It is the meme, you know, it is the dog of 𝗬cie co-founder. I'm not sure if these dog meme coins are going to do well, but you know, we're looking to speculate here, guys. There's nothing professional about just me saying, guys, let's all ape in on this you know, meme coin on the 𝗬cie ecosystem. It's just pure speculation. I like the fun fact that CoinGecko has a buy tab on it, and it's the only one from 𝗬cie really where they have a buy. I'm not sure if they're, you know, there must be some kind of a, I don't know, maybe, you know, maybe they got paid eventually to say, can you put a buy tab on that? And they, you know, I don't know. It's worth the speculation just because of the market capitalization. When we do take a look at the chart here from this coin, and you must be, you know, some of the people that follow me for a long time must be thinking, oh my goodness, this, you're losing it. And you're losing it with the meme coins. Just realizing that we are going to see that altcoin season at some point in the very near future. We need to understand also the pullbacks that could happen based on where Bitcoin is at the moment. So, I mean, it would be natural to see 10, 20, 30% pullbacks again on altcoins just because of Bitcoin. But it doesn't matter. I would say this as the last opportunity. When we take a look at the altcoin seasons, guys, you know, how long do you think this was? This is 𝗬𝗨 Network back in January of 2021. When do you think that this high was made? February, guys. Late February, Fowler Network went from 10 cents, okay? From January, it went from 10 cents of 2021 to $1.60. It was a massive wick. You had to sell on the day. Well, you did have some time to sell it at a, 6-7x. Staying realistic, right? This happened in, 6 weeks. The altcoin season was 6 weeks. Okay? So all of this, it's a trap. No altcoin season, bear market, blah, blah, blah. Guys, it's only going to happen in a few weeks. It is the moment. It is the moment. If it doesn't happen in June, September, October, round about this area, this range, you need to be ready, and it's going to be fast. It's going to be fast. It's going to be fast. You're going to start seeing the interest of lots of people aping in. You're going to have, all of your family members and friends. This is going to be fast. It's going to be so fast, almost like a blink of an eye. It will be so fast that you won't have time. I missed the low. I missed buying. We can take a look at any crypto, guys. A lot of people are like, when's altcoin season? Altcoin season's cancelled. When it's going to happen. Let's go to Cardano. It happens very fast, guys. It's a matter of, 6-8 weeks where the biggest gains are made. Right? Cardano was more about 8-10 weeks. It was a bit longer on these projects. But the big move, the big explosive move, happens in a matter of 6-7 weeks. If you get in here, then that's, it's a bad idea, because are you going to take profit on the next leg up, or will you get into the bear market? If you buy anywhere here, then you're buying into the third wave, fourth wave, right? Not a good idea. You're going to eat up, or, that moment down. So it's all getting into the right moment. It's really getting into the right moment. There will be a moment in the next coming months that we're going to start seeing, very, very explosive moves, very, very fast in a matter of a few weeks. It's going to be so fast. And that's the moment where we're going to see the interest throughout Google Trends, just like we saw in November and December. We're going to see a lot of people, you're going to see a spike moving up. It's inevitable, right? When we see, 500 and 1,000% pumps in crypto in a matter of a few weeks, you're going to start seeing this to the upside. Lots of people saying, holy moly, crypto is back and we need to start getting out. And this is going to be relatively fast, right? It's going to be a few weeks and we're going to get the gains very, very fast. 5x, 10x, 15x. And, once you start crossing that 10x or 15x, you're going to need to start thinking of getting out very, very quick and start DCAing out. And it's going to be a few weeks, guys. It's not going to be a year of altcoin season. It's going to be relatively fast to take those profits. So, yeah. Why isn't Andy talking to chat and watching to the price action? This stuff should be done in cool down zones. Why isn't Andy talking to chat and watching the price action? This stuff should be done in cool down zones. Crypto Princess, much love. I'm actually gonna see you in the next 5 minutes. Andy and I are recording in Crypto Journey today. Now, actually, I need to leave because I actually got a call with Crypto Princess, which is going to be very, very interesting. Shout out to you, Crypto Princess, here in the comment section, guys. If you don't know who Crypto Princess is, make sure to follow. She does provide content and interviews with different, technical analysts, traders, crypto, influencers, basically. Make sure BTC dumping hard, not that hard. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, legends, I need to go because I got an interview with Crypto Princess. Much love to everybody. Remember, guys, that you do have those exclusive bonuses with weeks, also with BTCC. Okay, you got a great bonus down below, up to $10,000 of deposit bonuses. On weeks, you get 25% fee reduction on your fees, and on both exchanges, you only need an email and a password. And I think you can trade anywhere in the world with them. Okay. Much love to everybody. Remember the plans. Okay, still sticking to those plans that we mentioned throughout the live stream. Much love, and I'll see you in the next one.